Okay. Hello everyone.
Hello.
I have a special guest with me today.
Hold on, just click and record on mine. There we go.
Okay.
I'm going. Right.
Let's just take this back a little bit. We're just trying to get ourselves in focus on our relevant cameras here.
Gradually sorting it out.
Yeah. I mean, this is award-winning stuff we're making here, you know.
Yeah.
You'll see us at the Oscars very shortly.
There we are, and there we are.
Yeah, so
There we
we're
go.
working. So, hi everybody. I hope you're all well. As you can see, I've got Gray with me today.
Yep.
This is the video we've been promising for a little while. We're going to start off with some questions about our own individual experiences with tinnitus.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do, a second video of general Q&As, questions that seem to come up quite a lot within the tinnitus community. So, and it's going to be Amanda that's asking the questions. So Amanda, if you'd like to start with the first question, we're happy to answer.
Yes, the first question I'd like to ask you both
Yeah.
is, how did your tinnitus first manifest itself?
Gray, you want to answer that one first? Please?
Sure. Mine was basically chronic stress. Over a lot of years it built up. There were other signs something was out of whack before any of general health issues most people will overlook. You know, nothing that you get a diagnosis for, just general not functioning ideally. And then over the years with this chronic stress, it eventually turned into tinnitus. There was no external trigger for it. I'm a musician, I do play loud, but I've been wearing earplugs for about 6 months before I actually developed chronic tinnitus. I'd had a couple of experiences with it after a couple of particularly loud gigs that scared me into wearing the plugs. I never developed permanent tinnitus from any of my musical exploits, I think we'll call it. And yeah, it just chronic stress. There was no infection, you know. That's what caused it. It's been there for 7 years. No. Like I say, I went to the GPs when I first got it, and they said it's probably an ear infection. So have a look. No ear infection. You know, I'm sure many of you will, and you will be able to relate to that story quite a lot. Yeah, there was no external trigger of any obvious physical kind that I could pinpoint my tinnitus to.
Stress, pretty much.
Yeah.
Build up of stress.
Yeah.
Yeah. My tinnitus. I wasn't exposed to any loud noise exposure or anything like that. I had no real physical trauma to cause it. When my tinnitus first manifested itself very, very suddenly when I was sitting with Amanda watching television one night, and out of nowhere a very sharp pain, like someone was putting a poker through this side of my head, felt like through my ear, a real pain, and then a very high pitched noise. Why did I get it? Stress, again, a high build up of stress over many years, being angry for too long a period of time, for many years, a build up, build up of stress,
Yeah, an accumulation
of stress. Anxiety
Yeah.
and pressure from work and just life in general.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, the way
same
we
thing
live, like we
myself.
said before, the way we live now,
Yeah.
it's not helpful
Yeah.
to our health. And after speaking to people like Julian and Andrew Pine, my therapist, the conclusion for me was that it's been caused by high levels of stress.
Yeah.
And I'm inclined to agree with it, because looking back on my life, that's what I think it was.
Yeah.
So the
And
same
based on my own, you know, studies, if you want to call it that, quite a strong word, I think, to call what I do. But yeah, looking into health, you know, studying things I found on the net, the way stress affects our bodies physically, it's not just a mental or emotional thing. All of it connects together.
Yeah.
You know, you receive a stimulus, the brain responds. It releases chemicals, you get the hormones circulating, you adapt to the stress you're under. And in the case with tinnitus, the bulk of it, and there's a lot of other factors, obviously there's so many factors. I think everyone's unique case of tinnitus will be caused by a set of things specific to them, but the key point that we definitely agree on is how important the emotional stuff is, the emotional mental issues, because of the adaptation it can make your body go through with the nervous system.
And I think with myself, I think my body was already telling me that I was, my life was not healthy for me. The stress was building up with me, because before I had tinnitus, my body, I think, was already trying to tell me this, because I had terrible IBS.
Yeah.
I had really bad digestive problems, and I was on a healthy diet.
Yeah,
My diet was healthy.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, why am I still having these problems? My diet is healthy.
Yeah,
I'm
you would
eating well.
assume that external factor's the big one.
And I'm still having these terrible dietary problems.
Yeah.
And I think that was caused by stress.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah, well, my digestion's not brilliant, and I tend to burp quite a bit in my videos because it's
You
not
was all right
brilliant.
last night while we were having a drink.
Yeah, we
You're
managed
fine.
that all right.
Yeah. No problems having a
No, alcohol.
couple of JDs
great.
last
Yeah.
night. It didn't seem to have any
Yeah,
problems
and
there.
normally, alcohol tends to spike my tinnitus a bit as well.
It was
But
okay.
that's normally just cider and lager, I think.
Yeah,
And I don't like them much anyway. JD.
JD
good
and
stuff.
honey, yeah.
Yeah.
We finished the bottle between us. It was
Yeah.
it didn't last long.
No.
But yeah.
Shame. Or
We're not putting this out there as any form of therapy, by the way. Before
no.
we start
Self-medication
yeah.
is not something we
We're
advocate.
not putting this out as therapy.
Yeah.
But it was just a good night. So
Yeah, that was what we're on about, chronic stress and various things. And like you said, your body telling you signs.
Yeah.
I had it, like my digestion's not brilliant even now. I will say, I'm not at the stage where I've got terrible acid reflux anymore, because I had it really bad. I mean, forget worrying about being a singer, I couldn't sleep. It was that bad. And that's emotional stuff, because when you get stressed and you stay in that chronic state, where the sympathetic nervous system's elevated, it downregulates certain processes, the relaxation stuff, digestion, all of it. And that's what I think most chronic health issues are.
the ironic thing is, post tinnitus, with trying to calm my nervous system for my tinnitus, the ironic thing is my IBS has gone.
Yeah.
I don't have the IBS anymore. I
Yeah.
have tinnitus,
Yeah.
but because I'm trying to calm myself, my nervous system, through my methods for my tinnitus, my IBS has improved. In fact, I don't have the digestive problems anymore.
Yeah.
So this proves to me that it's all connected.
Yeah, absolutely.
The way we feel is
There's a
connected.
very physical connection between your thoughts and emotions
Yeah, our
and the
body
way
will
body
relate
responds.
this.
I say my digestion's gotten better since I started to apply this kind of stuff we talk about. My sleep pattern stabilised for the first time in about 7 or 8 years. Mine was I've had an irregular circadian rhythm. The day is 24 hours long. My sleep cycle's 25 hours. That was a typical thing, which doesn't sound so bad until it falls out of line with the day. And you have to try to function. Imagine if someone woke you up, say you go to bed at 10, and someone's waking you up at 11 to start the day. It's a nightmare. So to have that improving, even though it's still not perfect, that's wonderful. Forget talking about tinnitus. That is a wonderful thing. And yeah, this all interconnects. There's a lot of health benefits to this stuff for many different areas, I think, that we found.
Definitely, when I look back, I definitely think that was my body telling me, you're under too much stress.
Yeah. It's obvious the signs are there before tinnitus becomes the main
And
ailment
only
to worry
after
about.
that did I start really taking action. That, the body's finally telling you, don't like the way you're treating me.
Yeah.
And so on. Okay, next question, Mad.
When this first happened to you both,
Yeah.
and obviously it was a very frightening thing to happen,
Yeah.
what help did you get from the medical fraternity? Did you find that they were very
Right.
helpful?
Okay, for me, when I first got it, the first thing I did, I went to my GP first, and he looked in my ears, couldn't really say a lot, sent me to the hospital.
Yeah.
So I went to the hospital, you'll remember this, Amanda. And one of the first doctors that I saw, female doctor, I'd already started looking about what tinnitus was, frantically on the internet.
Yeah.
What is this thing?
Please fix it.
Yeah, please help me. And I went to the hospital, and the doctor said to me, right, it's a problem with your ears.
Yeah.
I'm going to prescribe you ear drops. And I said, well, I don't think it is this. I think it could be something to do with my mind and so on. And basically, she dismissed what I was saying. She looked at me like I was an idiot.
Yeah.
I'm a doctor, I know what I know. And she looked and she said to me, well, what are you trying to tell me, Mr. Dickinson? That it's your brain? Very dismissive.
Yeah.
Not helpful. So I went away, And then I came back and I saw another doctor. I saw an ENT,
Yeah.
and I'd already by this time found out quite a lot about tinnitus. And pretty much they said to me, we can't tell you anything that you haven't already found out. It's something you have to live with.
Yeah.
There's no cure.
Yeah.
Basically, all we can offer you is masking white noise. Not helpful.
Yeah.
And my generally from the medical mainstream medical fraternity, not a lot of help.
Yeah. My experience was
Not a lot of help.
basically identical. I didn't go as far through it. When I first got tinnitus, it was about, I can't remember if it was 6 or 7 years ago. I was saying 6 when I started making these videos, and I was nearly, must be punching up on 8 now, so it's about 7. And YouTube and things like that were not what they are now. Info was harder to come by with other people's experience with this stuff. So, you know, I did what we all done. I looked on the net, tried to find stuff. Generally, it was all horror stories, all doom and gloom, or you've got it, we're fucked. Just, it was all that negative kind of thing. And so I made a point of not looking at that too much because that was worrying, obviously. And I went to the GPs. And they said, oh, you know, it possibly hearing damage, and my ears were fine. Like I say, I've been wearing earplugs for 6 months before, and before I got it, I had no issue with loud noise or hearing damage, and I've even had a hearing test semi-recently when I had the spike, which was nearly a year ago, or just over a year ago now. And my hearing's fine, so that's not an issue. It's not a hearing damage thing, it's not a hair cell damage issue. You know, and the only thing the GP said was, well, it could be an infection. I thought, please, God, let it be an infection. You know, I'm not a religious man, but yeah, I pray, you know, pray for that. But yeah, so they checked my ear, nothing wrong. Just, it's a mystery, and that was it. And, you know, I've been looking at other health things before, and like I said, there's various bits before, you know, like obesity, I studied a lot. And, yeah, so having looked into that, having seen how wrong I think a lot of their ideas are on that, on such a big thing, you know, their assumptions about it and the way they research based off of it. Based on that, I was confident there's something to this tinnitus thing. You know, when I first got it, it's not just a case of you have it now, you're stuck with it, it's magic or bad luck or genetics or whatever usual excuses people use. I was absolutely certain there's something to it, but that the doctors didn't know. So I didn't bother pursuing it much further. And based on other people's experience that I had seen on the net, where they'd go to the GP, they'd then go to the ENT, they'd go to, you know, God knows where afterwards, and none of it would help. I figured, well, look, if I can get used to it at the level it's at, that's fine. Maybe it will go away, maybe it won't. I'll try to learn to live with it. And those first 2 weeks were hell. But yeah, I got used to it, and it was fine for that time. But yeah, from the medical community.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a few doctors, and it was just saying the repeated process of looking in my ears.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, why are you looking in my ears again? I've already explained I've had this done before. You're not the first doctor I've seen.
Yeah.
Still this thing with the ears and the hair cell damage, and I had, like you say, I had a couple of hearing tests that they did for me at the hospital.
Yeah.
And my hearing's fine.
Yeah.
I have very, very, very slight hearing loss in one, but it's nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think that's.
They drastically overemphasize the physical stuff because that's what they look at. That's what doctors can study. You know, you can look at those things in laboratory settings. You can study them easy. It's a lot harder to say, you know, oh, I had an argument with my parents yesterday. I've got a tinnitus spike. Why? You know, it's a lot harder to study that kind of thing. You know, those types of issue. And just because you can't understand it in a lab or get nice, clear-cut results on paper doesn't mean they don't affect you. You know, we have to deal with the reality of this thing, not a nice, clean-cut idea of, it must be a physical trauma.
What I found was, when I did try and put across that I think it could be more related to my emotional state and stuff, I just got a very dismissive attitude generally from the medical world. My doctor that I see now, he doesn't actually listen to me. Yeah. He still can't answer my questions. Yeah, yeah. He still hasn't got the answers for me, but he does listen to me. Yeah. You know, so he does actually listen, which is helpful in its own way for someone just to listen. But yeah, they just don't know. Yeah. Is the bottom line. They just don't know.
I feel it's very important to say, you know, this isn't like a lot of people, they get quite pessimistic or defeatist about it, just, the damn medical community out to get us. It's not that. You know, they want to do right by their patients, they want to help as best as they can, but they don't know everything. You know, they know a lot, and what they do know, they know a lot about. But there's, with chronic things like tinnitus, with, you know, IBS, those kinds of things, there's so much more to the picture than just the things that are easy to see in a lab. You know, and no pill or surgery will cover that. I've said it many times. It won't cover the entirety of what this is. It won't.
Okay.
During the time that you've had tinnitus, you've obviously been seeking help and advice. Where do you think the most useful advice and help has come from?
Straight away, Julian.
Yeah.
For me, Julian
Nice.
Conehill. Yeah, up until I come across Julian's videos, I was, you know, panicking.
Yeah.
I was panicking. I was, how the hell am I going to live with this?
Yeah.
I had no real help from the medical world. I came across Julian's videos, watching all of his videos. Instantly, I was starting to feel more encouraged that there was hope. And then I had an appointment with Julian, and the first thing that Julian said to me, because the first question I asked Julian was, is this permanent? I need to know.
Yeah.
And the first thing Julian said to me, don't worry, Adrian, it's not permanent. You know, we can help you.
And isn't that a nice
And that,
Yeah.
just instantly, I felt, you know, I still had the tinnitus, obviously, but just hearing that from him,
Yeah.
just calmed
There is a light
me
at the
down.
end of the tunnel.
Yeah, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And Julian is very calming in just being around and listening to him speak to you, even through his videos.
Yeah, yeah.
When you meet him, he has this calming effect on you, because he's you can tell he's content.
Yeah.
And
He's clearly been there and done it.
He's at peace with the world. He's at peace with the world.
Yeah.
And he understands what you're going through because he's been there.
Yeah.
So everything that Julian has said to me so far, and what I've seen in his videos and sessions that I've had with him, he's been right about.
Yeah.
The therapist that he said for me to try, he's
Yeah.
the one that introduced me to Tai Chi, etc. He's been right about. So for me, the best advice that was Julian.
Yeah.
He was my biggest help
Yeah.
in starting to feel more positive that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, for me it's quite a similar story. I'd spent a long time looking, you know, because I study a lot of whatever bits I can find and whatever topics interest me, and so when I got the tinnitus spike that I had about a year ago, it was that bad I couldn't function, you know, and like I've said many times, I play loud rock music, I wear earplugs, my hearing's fine, but I could hear the ringing over that, and I play very loud, you know, so that was very disturbing to have to try to live with. I couldn't live with it, is the truth. And so I spent a lot of time researching as best as I could, looking for things, looking for physical things that could have affected it, you know, to do with jaws, to do with the spine, you know, brain fluid flow, all these kinds of things, because there was all these sorts of symptoms with it. You assume it must be a physical issue, you know, like the pressure in the head, that kind of stuff. But none of it explained it completely, none of it made sense, you know, it was things that, you know, okay, maybe the jaws are a bit of an issue or whatever, possibly, maybe, it was all ums and ahs about it, it was all guessing. And then when I was on YouTube watching stuff, I wasn't even looking for tinnitus stuff at this point. You know, I was just trying to cope with it, I was just trying to get from 1 minute to the next. And so I was on YouTube watching some gaming thing or whatever, and then in the sidebar there was, I think it was Julian's first video. And that is, for anyone watching, if you're new, go watch that, you know, stop this video, go watch that one. That one, it explains everything, and when I saw that for the first time, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. It just, that connected all the dots with all the different bits I've been seeing. It explained every mystery about tinnitus, every random spike or bit of variation, all the physical stuff as well. The fact that it's a nervous system disorder, it's affected by all of these things. And it can be a different degree of everything in every different person. So yeah, the second I saw that, I started to get better. It took time, it did take a while to be able to apply it, but just having that hopeful message of, it can come down, you know, it can improve, you can get better, you can cure it. That alone was enough for me to get, like I described last night, my foot in the door and start wiggling away and getting the tinnitus to start to come down. Yeah, that was the most helpful thing.
On your channels, you have people come on that have just been struck with this tinnitus.
Yep.
You're saying about watching Julian's video.
Yeah.
What other very important advice could you give to these people to help them?
I think the advice I'd like to give to someone that's just been struck with tinnitus, the best advice I can give is don't start to panic. Don't be frightened.
Yeah.
There is hope. Don't start to feel that there is no hope. Because I know when I was first struck with it, until I came across Julian, etc., you do feel like, how am I going to live with this?
Yeah.
I'm going to go insane.
Yeah, you start a downward spiral with it.
You start spiraling downwards, and,
And that feeds the tinnitus.
Yeah.
And then,
It's vicious circle.
Yeah, mine was like that when I had my spike. It got worse and worse and worse. You know, to start with, it was unbearable. Towards the end of it, I was very, very down.
Yeah.
I mean, very. You know, it was that bad. Just completely non-functional because of it. There was nothing you could have given me to cheer me up.
Yeah, you can't function.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got it, and it was like, I want to say, a level 9-10.
Yeah.
I just used to lay in Amanda's arms and just look at her in tears.
Yeah.
We've been to that place,
Yeah.
and so my advice is please don't. If you've just been struck with tinnitus,
It can get better.
yeah, you can get better. At the very, very least, you will be able to live your life with at the very least with the condition towards a road to recovery. But it can get better. You can live with this condition at the very least.
Yeah.
Like I say, most days I'm at a level 1 or 2. It's there, but I'm living.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable, and I'm still living my life.
Yeah.
And Gray's doing the same.
Yeah, yeah.
So please, that's my best advice: is don't be frightened when you get it. Don't get stressed, because that will make it worse.
Yeah.
You know, there are people out there that understand and can help you, such as myself and Gray and Julian. So please, don't be frightened.
Yeah, that's my advice. Just don't worry. Yeah.
Okay, is that the last question on that?
That's the last question.
Okay, right, we're going to take a short break now. We haven't got any JD left, so I think it's going to be tea.
Yeah.
Yeah, tea or water
Yeah.
is the best I can offer at the moment.
That's fine. Water's good.
Okay.
Water's good.
So we're going to take a short break now, and then we'll do our next video, where we're going to answer questions, general questions that come up from the tinnitus community. Okay, we'll see you all soon, guys.
Yeah. Cheers.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.